from Spiritual Seeds. We are, or at least in England, we are in lockdown in the sense that we cannot celebrate public Mass. So these seeds, I hope they can help you even more than always. The Gospel for this Sunday is pretty long. It's the so-called parable of the talents. Just to introduce it, it's a really well-written text. If you are a little bit artistic, you can think of a theater piece. First act, second act, and you know, if you go to the theater, when the theater will be reopened, that the key bit, also in the musical concert, is the third act. The third act is a long dialogue between a master and his servants. The first two acts is the master giving to his servants talents, and the second act are the servants responding, dealing, trading, acting. So I invite you to listen to this long gospel, and then I will try to break it into seeds to bring fruit to your life. From the Gospel according to Matthew. Jesus spoke this parable to his disciples. The kingdom of heaven is like a man on his way abroad who summoned his servants and entrusted his property to them. To one he gave 5 talents, to another 2, to a third 1, each in proportion to his ability. Then he set out. The man who had received the 5 talents promptly went and traded with them and made 5 more. The man who had received 2 made 2 more in the same way. But the man who had received 1 went off and dug a hole in the ground and hid his master's money. Now a long time after, the master of those servants came back and went through his accounts with them. The man who had received the 5 talents came forward, bringing 5 more. Sir, he said, you entrusted me with 5 talents. Here are 5 more that I have made. His master said to him, well done, good and faithful servant. You have shown you can be faithful in small things. I will trust you with greater. Come and join in your master's happiness. Next, the man with the 2 talents came forward. Sir, he said, you entrusted me with 2 talents. Here are 2 more I've made. His master said to him, well done, good and faithful servant. You have shown you can be faithful in small things. I will trust you with greater. Come and join in your master's happiness. Last came forward the man who had 1 talent. Sir, said he, I had heard you were a hard man, reaping where you have not sown, gathering where you have not scattered. So I was afraid, and I went off and hid your talent in the ground. Here it is, it was yours. You have it back. But his master answered him, you wicked and lazy servant, so you knew that I reap where I have not sown and gather where I have not scattered. Well then, you should have deposited my money with the bankers, and on my return I would have recovered my capital with interest. So now take the talent from him, and give it to the man who has the 5 talents. For to everyone who has will be given more, and he will have more than enough. But from the man who has not, even what he has will be taken away. As for this good-for-nothing servant, throw him out into the dark, where there will be weeping and grinding of teeth. The Gospel of the Lord. So the parable of the talents. The first thing to say is that there is a problem of language. I'm speaking in particular to some parents I know that are very demanding with their children. This parable is not about the talents of your children, whether they have a musical talent or they are very gifted in maths, and you are pushing them. That is not what the gospel is about. The talents, in your understanding, it's a modern language. In ancient language, talent is money. It's big money. I think 1 talent is 33 kilos of gold. So, what are these talents? The fathers of the church, interprets the Word of God. And always from the beginning, the church understood that this gold, this silver, always in the Bible means the Word of God, the actions of God. In the Bible, the Word is the action of God. What this Master entrusted us are with the history. The Master created us, entrusted to us with the history, and then he left, and he's coming back. And we are living the chronos. When he says here, time is chronos, is our history. And in this history, he gave us talents that are facts, events, where he, because it is of the Master, he is present. And the talents are the events that God is sending you, that God is giving to you, where he is present. And what happens here? The second act, the trading or the digging of a hole. What does it mean? To trade with these talents, it means to enter these events, to engage with them concretely. If you are living maybe a disappointment, something has happened to you or to your husband, to your marriage, and you are disappointed, you are discouraged, you feel betrayed. Enter the event. That fact is not outside the Master. The Master is present in that event. And to trade with that event, it means to enter. The fathers of the church understood that these 5 talents and these 2 talents that are duplicated are the people, the Christians, who understood the full meaning of the events that God sends them. Are the people who understood the depth of their history. Why they were born in that family. Why they were number 2 and not number 5. Why they are a man and not a woman. Why they are so gifted or not gifted. Why they struggle in this way, why they have those sins. They understood the depth of their talents, of their history. What about the third servant? He dug a hole and buried the event. That is, separates himself from the event that God has given to him. God has given to him an event to understand his presence, the presence of the Master, the work of the Master. And he, because of fear, because he judges God, considers God hard, is afraid of what God can give, he digs the hole and buries the coin. And that in that way, the coin remains empty. The event has no meaning. The cancer has no meaning. The the new child, the new pregnancy has no meaning. I don't know what event you are living at the moment. Maybe the lockdown, or maybe someone just died, like a parishioner of mine, or maybe you are pregnant and you're really struggling. You went into deep crisis of your marriage. I don't want to be negative, but that's the reality. Sometimes these are the talents. And this word is saying, there is the master there. Don't bury the event. Don't be afraid of the event. Don't separate yourself from the event. Enter the event. Because what is the reward is enter your master's joy. This word, and I finish with this, the joy of your Lord only exists here. In the whole Bible, in the whole New Testament, only here twice. To say, when we enter the events, even those events that we don't like, when you enter that event, you will not find just the meaning of the event. You will enter something of Him. That joy is His, because He went into the event that His Father gave Him, the cross, and He rose from the dead. He has that joy. And when we enter those events, we change nature. In the end, the third remains a servant. The other two become children of the Father because they enter His nature. They become children of God. This is the depth of the talents. Look inside your pockets. Look in the bag. Look in the cupboard of your bedroom. You will find talents. You will find events, and in those events there is His nature. See you next Sunday for the great feast of Christ the King.